Lord, by the strength of thy Holy Spirit, grant us the willingness to place service above personal gain and to respect our obligations of justice and our positions as members of the Council of the Town of Essex. Amen.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm glad they added on to this room. We got a nice crowd here tonight. Before I call the meeting to order, I would like all the veterans. Could you please stand? All you veterans, come on. We all want to thank you very much again. Thank you very much. Oh, Canada. Okay. Call the meeting to order and ask if there's any conflict of interest amongst the council members. Nope, that's good. Looking for adoption of published agenda for Monday, March the 17th. Council meeting, Councillor Bowman, Councillor Vokes. Any questions?
Through your worship, I have the addition of the request from the Essex Youth Centre for a letter of support from council for a grant application by the Royal Bank after-school grants. And I'll be adding that to new business at the end.
Thank you very much. Did I get someone to move those? Yeah. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Looking for the adoption of the minutes of Monday, March the 3rd regular council meeting. Can I also add March the 24th regular meeting? Good. And Monday, February the 26th meeting. Councillor Vokes, oh, one more. Monday, March the 3rd council meeting. Councillor Vokes moves, supported by Councillor Bondi.
With a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
If I may. I just want to thank council for sending a letter to the school board and to our MPP. I did get credit in the press for bringing up those motions, but it was actually Councillor Baker and Councillor Bowman that brought that up, so it was really teamwork here with Essex Council, so I definitely want to share that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Our first public... Okay, we need a motion to move up the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 338 Harold Parkette Cenotaph presentation. Councillor Baker, Councillor Scott, any questions? All in favor of the motion? Okay, so first of all, we have the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 338 from Harold, okay?
Unless they're all going to speak, 10 is the most.
Welcome, gentlemen, and I'll advise you, you're on the timer once you get started, 5 minutes. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have your mic on, Bill?
True.
Thanks.
The PowerPoint presentation is ran off the laptop right there. It's on the desktop. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'll just wait till this fires up. So in the interim, while this is setting up, let me just put it in motion here. Okay. I would like to, first of all, welcome all the members of the Legion that are here tonight, Branch 338, the veterans especially, of course, and to my right is Don Guthrie, who is our past president of the Legion, and chair of our finance committee, Mr. Brian Meyer. So tonight, this committee would like to do a presentation to you about the updates of the Cenotaph presentation, and we're here tonight to talk about two aspects, in particular the Veterans Memorial Park naming rights and also the Cenotaph launch campaign tonight. So we are here tonight for a few reasons, and I'll give you a couple of them. First of all, to seek a motion from council to actually dedicate the Harold Parkette area for a Cenotaph monument. This is subsequent to a motion that was passed back in March of 2013 that permitted the Legion along with the Rotary, to work with administration, John Olson and Doug, to determine a location within the Harrow Parkette, which is called the Harrow Parkette, for a location, and we've done that, and we're moving forward tonight. Other reason we'd like to tonight is to get your permission and a motion that what is currently known, there's actually really no name for the Harrow Parkette, we all call it the Harrow Parkette, is to ask you tonight to officially have a motion to name the Harrow Parkette as the Veterans Memorial Park. We would do this with your permission under a motion and dedicate this by mayor and council, and our target would be for the November 11th Memorial Day, and that's when we'd like to do both. And the other reason that we're here tonight is to actually launch the official campaign for the Branch 338 Cenotaph Monument and the Brick of Honor campaign. So let me go through some of our strategy here. This is a campaign goal of $80,000. This $80,000 is to design, build the monument, bricks, and there are some contingencies built in to work with the town. We have applications in with Trillium, and we will be approaching Legion Command and looking for grants in terms of the amount of $30,000. In addition to that, we have a strategy to raise an additional $40,000 within the community through the Harrow Rotary Pledge. The Harrow Rotary is behind this as well. Through community events, which I'll be explaining later tonight and looking for your support in that one. Through the community events, community sponsorships through some of our larger corporate businesses and families, and also through the Brick of Honor campaign, and I'll show you that as we move forward. We will also be asking through a motion for council to support us with $10,000 plus in kind. I know that there was some reciprocal done for the monument done in Essex, and we would hope that we could count on council through budgets to look at this for in addition to this campaign. As you know, for those who don't know, the Harrow Parkette is quite a beautiful place. This was turned into a great site from a disaster. We had a fire there back about, I guess it's nearly 7 or 8 years ago now. It was a bowling alley. It's turned into a beautiful gathering spot. Greatly landscaped. It's a gathering spot for people in town. Is totally accessible, which is very important for our veterans and for people who show up, and has a great area in terms of public presentation, and is quite visible in the community as well, being on King Street. So the location is quite good, and we're really pleased with that. So the area itself is quite big. It's nearly 119 feet in depth and about 44 feet wide. And the area that we're proposing has a total square foot area of about 480 square feet. And we have been in discussion with Doug, and he is in favor of the location. There is one spot that has to be that we're looking at. Is there's a tree location, and there's already been some agreement to move that tree up to the front, which would probably be suffice, because I think it's a spruce, Doug, is it? Would be nice for tree lighting ceremonies, etc. So that would allow us to have this area completely open, about 480 square feet for this cenotaph area. This is in general. We'll go through some of the details very quickly. This is the area here in which we are proposing. And this we may look at, and you'll see with the monument, we will be tweaking this area to face this way more so that we can utilize this area for people that gather when we do ceremonies. Now, this is the artist rendering of the monument, which is a total granite monument with two sides on it, which will have side monuments. We are actually, this is just a rendering at this point in time, but because of the diversity in our community, we will be representing one of the Air Force will be a female, one of our the Navy individual will be a black, and this is to represent our historical heritage with our black community as well, and one Army will be a white soldier. The Honor of Brick campaign will be 8 by 8 individual tiles of brick tiles. They will be able to, at this point in time, become single, double, or triple in terms of depending on the size of donations that we'll be receiving, and this will be funding the $40,000 campaign as well. These areas here will be reserved for depicting and representing our past veterans, World War I and World War II, and any others as well. and our sponsors as well. Thank you. This here is just to give you a little bit of representation of the size. The actual monument itself, the granite monument, will be 8 feet in height, 8 by 8 feet 2 inches. The total width is about 10 foot 4 inches, with a cascading, it's cascading down in terms of their areas to about 9 feet 4 inches in width here. The side monuments will be about 3.4 inches high and 2.5 feet wide. So it's quite a big area. It will be great for representation in terms of us doing our ceremonies for Memorial Day and everything and anything else that we'll be doing. So, as I said, the last thing, and we were being quick so we can have any questions that are required, is that one of our first fundraisers, of course, is going to be on March the 25th at the Legion, and we have brought tickets with us tonight. They're $10 or a donation, and we'll be doing a fair amount of these community events to raise money, but the lion's share of our money will be coming from the Brick of Honor campaign and our corporate sponsors, and hopefully we look forward to council's involvement in this as well. I know that in earlier discussions today, Doug is in and you can speak for yourself, obviously, but Doug has confirmed with me that he is in agreement with the location and the design that we have. Further on, we'll be moving forward with actual spec dimensions once we get approval tonight for moving forward. But tonight, we'd like to launch the campaign and have the community know that we're out and we're pretty excited about this. So I will now open up to any questions that you have and any of my members here.
Any questions from Councillor Bondi?
Thank you. I don't really have any questions, but I just want to thank all the Legion members from Branch 338 for coming out tonight. And when the time is right, I'd like to make a motion that the town donate $10,000 towards the cenotaph and any in-kind work that you need. I just have a question of where that money can come from, and maybe Donna has, maybe the Community Partnerships Fund, I'm not sure. Donna, do you have an idea where this $10,000 could come from?
Through you, Your Worship, at this point I do not. It could come from the Community Partnership Fund, although I think when we did the Essex Legion, that came through the budget proper. So I think we would try and find some room in the budget to accommodate that.
Okay. And since we haven't completed our budget process yet, my motion will be that we put the money in, the $10,000 into our 2014 budget for approval. And I'm sure that council will be supportive of that. So when the time is right.
Thank you. Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Councillor Boakes. Yeah, further to that motion, if we would also, if you so fits to do so, we'd like to see the naming rights for the Memorial Park as well, so the Veterans Memorial, if you can include that into the motion. Thank you.
Okay. Anything further, Councillor Vokes?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Obviously, my Uncle Ray was in the war, and I have a great respect, obviously, for the war veterans before us tonight, but I'm going to take it a little bit of an opportunity here. I'm remaining optimistic that the $10,000 is going to be there, but I'm going to contribute $300 to it this evening, and I'm going to put the challenge out to my colleagues on council and hope I can get each of you to contribute $300, matching that for a total of $2,100, bringing that to $12,100. You'll walk out of here, hopefully, with tonight. But you have a commitment from me for $300 this evening, and I got the challenge out to the balance of my council to match that.
Thank you, Councillor Boakes, and I'll take you up on that challenge as well.
Okay. No. Anything further? Okay. Ms. Bondi?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that...
Should I be back in my chair for this motion?
Yeah. Sure. That the town of Essex commit the $10,000 towards the cenotaph, and that we also provide in-kind contributions, and that we name the park, what was it, Memorial?
Veterans Memorial.
Veterans Memorial Park. I'm looking for a seconder.
Councillor
And I
Scott.
also have $300.
Councillor Scott. Okay. Any questions to the motion? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. Thank you. Okay, our next presentation is the Essex Region Conservation Authority 2013 Annual Report and 2014 Budget. Mr. Wyman, welcome. And Joe.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. It's a little unusual for me to be at this end of the council chambers, so it's a very different view from back here. But last year we had the opportunity to collectively reflect on 40 years of conservation in our region as an authority. And throughout the year I was reminded of a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, "Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." And I think it's fair to say that as we look back over the 40 years of successes that we've had in this region, with great support from municipal partners, from landowners, from industry, and so many others, we've definitely created our own path. Today, our watershed-based programs demonstrate an ongoing and consistent response to real and serious problems and challenges in our region, such as land degradation, natural heritage, natural area cover, flooding and erosion. Additionally, issues such as water quality in the Great Lakes, climate change adaptation, stormwater and engineering innovation, integrated watershed planning, these things have grown in recognition and importance and must now be considered in meeting the needs and interests of our region, our municipalities, and our landowners. And so, with that introduction, I do want to thank you for the opportunity this evening to present our 2013 annual report. I'm going to show that now, and then I'm going to come back and speak briefly to some of our activities planned for 2014. The video is just loading here, so.
In 2013, the Essex Region Conservation Authority celebrated 40 years of conservation. And looking back over the past 4 decades, it's almost impossible to imagine how far we've come. In 1973, tree cover in this region was barely 3%. No comprehensive program existed to ensure homes were protected from flooding and erosion. There were no conservation areas or greenways. In fact, we were the second last of Ontario's conservation authorities to be established. And by the time we came into being, many of the other authorities had already completed significant infrastructure works. We had a lot to do to catch up to our peers. In 1973, before we could even begin our shoreline protection program, we had a number of challenges to overcome. The science of the time was developed for valleys as a result of Hurricane Hazel. Applying these standards to our flat landscapes would have meant no development could occur. So, despite being one of the last conservation authorities to be established, we were one of the first to develop comprehensive fill and floodline mapping to ensure that development could proceed, but in a sustainable way. This year, we finalized the shoreline design guidelines for environmentally sensitive engineering techniques along the Detroit River and have replaced the failing weir along the Grand Marais Drain in Windsor with 3 rock steps to improve drain stability and flow. We worked with the municipality of Leamington for the design of the Road 1 dike to help protect people and property from the dangers of flooding and erosion. We also completed the Big Creek Watershed Management Plan to identify and assess its natural resources and recommend strategies for their protection and management. In 1974, we acquired our first conservation areas, Maidstone and Devonwood. Fast forward to today, and we have protected more than 4,000 acres of natural habitat. We manage 19 publicly accessible conservation areas and almost 100 kilometers of trails. This year, we enhanced visitor services by adding a shorebird viewing shelter at Hillman Marsh and beginning construction of our new eco-washroom at Holiday Beach. In 1976, we began our tree planting program and planted 32,000 trees. This year, we planted over 135,000 trees, including our 6 millionth. We also restored 115 acres of habitat and completed an important project at the Windsor Airport to connect 2 separate forests. We developed the Essex Region Natural Heritage System strategy to help better protect natural areas and recommend restoration opportunities, and worked with the County of Essex to help finalize their official plan. We also released the 2012 Watershed Report Card, which measures environmental indicators to identify current conditions and changes to watershed health. It also helps to guide our conservation and restoration efforts and allows us to monitor progress. IRCA also launched a program to help landowners understand more about their septic systems and the necessity of regular maintenance, and partnered with local contractors to offer service discounts. We co-hosted a bi-national workshop to share agricultural science, technology, and data for improved Great Lakes water quality, and created the region's first rain garden. This rain garden is a low-impact design to help manage stormwater, and we hope landowners will be inspired to recreate it on their own properties. In August, IRCA and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services signed agreements to ensure that lands will be managed collaboratively in the spirit of the U.S. Detroit River International Wildlife Refuge and the Western Lake Erie Watershed's Priority Natural Area. And Canadian Registry of Lands was created to recognize volunteer commitments to make conservation, habitat protection, and restoration top priorities. IRCA also played a key role in coordinating a binational partnership to expand the lake sturgeon spawning reef in the Detroit River for this endangered species. Since 1980, IRCA has educated more than 300,000 students about the importance of conserving our environment and preserving our heritage. For many of these young people, our outdoor education programs are their first interaction with nature, and this year, more than 7,500 children participated in our programs. We also hosted 75 public events and supported Ontario Children's Outdoor Charter that encourages and advocates for children to explore, discover, play, learn, and understand our environment. We recognized 40 conservation champions who have made significant contributions to the conservation movement in Windsor, Essex. We also restructured our community outreach program to provide Friends of Watersheds groups more autonomy while enhancing opportunities to reach additional segments of our population. When we look back to 1995, when the province of Ontario cut funding to conservation authorities by 70%, our board of directors at the time was truly visionary. While cutting programs would have been the easy choice, they chose to maintain existing levels of service, requiring staff to focus on revenue generation, implementing fees for service to those who benefit, and strengthening community and municipal partnerships. We became creative in finding ways to get our work done, and aggressive about seeking special project funding on behalf of our municipal partners. In fact, it's become very much part of IRCA's culture and helped to define our reputation over the decades. We are known to find innovative solutions for, at times, seemingly insurmountable challenges. This year, we continued to build on that reputation as we implemented our 5-year sustainability plan, A Way Forward. This plan provides a focus for organizational sustainability, continuing our operations while concentrating on some pressing capital issues such as infrastructure and reserves. A new organizational structure provides clarity, encourages collaboration, and better positions IRCA to respond to the next generation of conservation challenges. While we've said it before, none of these accomplishments were made in isolation. We thank every mayor, municipal councillor, and past IRCA board member who has embraced a regional approach to doing business and recognized that what's good for our region ultimately benefits our own municipalities. It's also critically important to say thank you to the many partners and volunteers who have helped us over the years. To everyone who has had a hand in the conservation of this region, we salute you. We're all familiar with Margaret Mead's quote that only a small, thoughtful group of committed citizens can change the world. It's so true, because together over the past 4 decades, we have made significant progress in changing and improving our corner of this world. And we look forward to the next 40 years of protecting and restoring the environment of the Windsor-Essex-Pelee Island region.
I'm not sure how the audio came out, but I do know that I think you have those in your package, and that video is also available on our website, on our YouTube channel through our website. But the work that you saw in the video and the work that we do as a conservation authority relies on a strong board. And tonight I'd certainly like to recognize Councillors Bondi and Councillor Scott, who have both represented not just the town of Essex very well on our board, but have represented the region very well. And we certainly appreciate their inputs and their work with us. As was mentioned in the video, in November of 2012, our board of directors approved the 5-year sustainability plan, and that plan was designed to address 3 key issues. It identified first a suite of capital and operational reserves. It directed funding to offset some of our core programs and services that were at risk with the funding programs they did have. And it also restructured us from 8 to 4 departments to enhance some efficiencies and internal collaboration. At the same time, the restructuring, as again was commented on the video, helped us set up to meet the future needs of this region and support innovation and new approaches to business and program development. So the 2014 budget and our work plan for 2014 continues to implement those 3 key directions of the sustainability plan. And some of the key projects planned for next year include completing more than $2 million of water and erosion control infrastructure projects, or WECI projects, including the final design for improvements to the Grand Mares Drain in the City of Windsor, as well as some work on the Little River sheet steel wall also in the City of Windsor. We'll begin implementation of the Big Creek Watershed Management Plan that was mentioned in the video. And with the knowledge gained from this process, we'll actually be developing a new framework for integrated watershed management plans with all of our municipalities, with our senior levels of government, and with other partners, so that we can develop jointly more watershed management plans for our region. We'll also be working with our member municipalities, including Essex, the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, the Ontario Climate Consortium, and the Universities of Waterloo and McMaster to update our intensity, duration, frequency curves with regard to future climate change scenarios. And what started out as a simple project, or what we thought was a simple project, as we learned more and more about how complex the project actually was, we're now actually part of a national floodnet project, which is a multi-university national grant that's been put forward to take a look at IDF curves as part of a broader discussion on flooding and the socio and economic impacts of flooding as well. Our Clean Water Green Spaces program, and you'll hear a little bit more about it tonight later on your agenda, will restore at least 125 acres of land and plant at least 140,000 trees throughout the region. And we'll do that with more than 2,000 pounds of seed that we've collected from local seed sources. We'll be completing at least 15 water quality and enhancement beneficial management projects with our rural landowners. Through our capital program, as I mentioned, with the changes, we'll continue to complete some long overdue improvements at our conservation areas, which will include the opening of the Eco Washroom at Holiday Beach, stabilization of the Chrysler Canada Greenway in Kingsville, as well as drainage improvements at the John R. Park Homestead and Maidstone conservation areas, facility improvements at Hillman Marsh, and we'll initiate some boardwalk replacement at Copagarron Woods conservation area. We'll also be working with municipalities to finalize plans to connect the Chrysler Canada Greenway to the Herb Gray Parkway trails, as well as trails in the towns of LaSalle and Tecumseh, and the City of Windsor in support of the Trans-Canada Trail, and we'll continue to make efforts to continue the development of the Essex to Amherstburg Trail as well, with the great support that we have had to date from the town of Essex. Our source water program will complete additional technical studies, and we'll be submitting later this year an updated assessment report and an updated source water plan that includes delineation of issues contributing areas of the Lake Erie water intakes, and those significant drinking water threats that may take place in those intake protection zones, and the issues contributing areas, and all sorts of new acronyms I've been learning lately. We'll continue to integrate our education programs, which provide conservation education to more than 8,500 students a year. As was mentioned in the video, over 300,000 students in our region have benefited from those programs. We'll also begin to continue to increase our profile and awareness of IRCA programs, and we're doing more and more of that in our conservation areas. So we'll continue to do our work on Earth Day and the Water Festival that we've done for many years. As well, we'll be working again on our South Coast Adventure Race, which is new for this year, and our Canada South Coast Bike Tour, which is a continuing effort that we've done now for, this will be its 3rd year. Finally, and importantly, we'll be reviewing our information management and our GIS systems and processes to make sure that the information that we have and the knowledge that we've gained as a region can be at our hands when we need to make decisions based on that information. IRCA has a demonstrated history of balancing projects and priorities with local investment, and we do understand the challenges that municipalities face. Over the past 5 years, if you look at Conservation Ontario statistics, IRCA is consistently in the top 10 of all 36 conservation authorities in terms of programs and related program revenues for our region. At the same time, we are consistently in the bottom 5 of all 36 conservation authorities in terms of general levy as a percentage of our total revenues, and well below the average. On average, we're about 26%, and the average is a little over 38%. So I think that clearly demonstrates the value that IRCA is bringing the region. In simple terms, you get top 10 value for bottom 5 prices. In fact, most of the programs and projects I just highlighted, in fact, rely on external funding that we're able to bring into the region. Our board recognizes this too, and recognizes the work that the Conservation Authority does, and our 2014 budget, which was unanimously approved in February of this year, totals $7.2 million and includes a levy contribution from member municipalities of $2.8 million. This is an increase of only 36 cents per household based on current value assessment. And that includes funding for the new capital operational reserves in addition to funding our ongoing core programs and initiatives. Given our daily reliance on our natural resources, it is critical, I think, that we continue to build resilient local watersheds in order to ensure healthy people and ultimately a reliable and sustainable economy. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Senator Scott?
Thank you, Your Worship, but through you to Richard and Chairman Bacchetti. Thank you for coming tonight. And as you mentioned, Councillor Bondi and I sit on the IRCA board, and we both agree that it's certainly, we see the value in our municipality and the partnership we have with IRCA. If you look through that video, you see so many things that are happening not only in our region, but they're happening right in our town. And with the small levy that comes from the municipality, they're able to stretch dollars through grants and other loans and other programs to really get a lot of bang for our buck. You mentioned the South Coast Adventure Race. I think that's sold out now. Is it sold out? Yeah, this is a new, they're doing fun events. I think I said before that, this isn't your father's IRCA. Sometimes people have maybe an older, a dated version of what IRCA is. Maybe it's Tim Burney in his hat. I always use that example. And that's one of it. And there's certainly, we have bright scientists and we have an enforcement part of it that's very important. But the trails that are being completed here, the events, our conservation areas are going through a new business plan. Holiday Beach is going through a business plan with Kevin Money. And they're going to come out stronger and better for our whole region. And again, doing it with very small cost to our taxpayers. We get more bang for our buck, I think, from this organization than probably anyone else. So I'm always happy when you're here reporting. Richard, I think you went over your 5 minutes, but because you're a resident of the town of Essex, that's allowed. So I appreciate your time again. Thank you.
Councillor Baker?
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. I too want to congratulate both our members. I know that they're very diligent on the board here, but also the partnerships that you're bringing to us. And tonight, later on, we'll be hearing about a reforestation project that we could partner with you, and we're looking very forward to that. Programs like that really help out municipalities and residents here who are looking at improving their properties. So for that, we thank you very much, and continue good work. Thank you.
Anything further? I just recognize the chair of the board, Joe Bacchetti. Thanks for coming, Joe. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for all your support, and again, we're working hard here, and you got two strong members here in the whole town of Essex. All the work that we do here, we're appreciative of your efforts and with your administration as well.
Okay, thank you. Motion received. Councillor Baker and Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Our next presentation is the Essex Ravens football Hurricane soccer transformation of the Essex Memorial Arena to a multi-purpose sports facility. All men, welcome gentlemen.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to meet with you guys tonight. I know we sent in the PowerPoint presentation to everybody, so I'm going to give a quick rundown on basically who the Essex Ravens are. I'm sure most of you guys know, and then Scott will inform everybody about Hurricane soccer. As you know, Essex Ravens was founded in 1997. We're an incorporated nonprofit youth football organization. We're 100% volunteer operated, located in the town of Essex. Over 200 kids presently play football for the Essex Ravens in 4 different age groups, and we're looking to expand this year as well. Our coaching staff, training staff is over 50 to 60 volunteers. Again, all volunteers. We play in the Ontario Varsity Football League, which is presently the biggest independent football league in North America. It has 72 football teams represented at all the 3 age groups.
Yeah, I'm Scott Pilon. We're with the Hurricane Soccer Group. We're new to the area. We're a U14 Watson League soccer club that came out of Harrow. It was united from Leamington, from Bell River, Amherstburg, Harrow, and we've settled here as our training facility. 100% volunteered. We are currently organizing a second team as the girls U15, and I've had interest from other groups to come into the area as well.
I'll just quickly go through our mission statement. To provide, through the game of football, an avenue where young people can develop teamwork, ethical behavior, respect, leadership, while providing an enjoyable environment for developing their football skills. That's something we take very, very seriously and incredibly proud of. We have, I think, 15 players presently in the NFL, either NFL or CFL, playing professional football. We put probably about 500 playing Canadian university football, and approximately 20 have went on and played in the NC2A full ride Division I football scholarships. We just had our first young man win a Super Bowl. Luke Wilson, who played for us as well, just won a Super Bowl and has been back to the town and done quite a few things as well. So with that being said, I'll let Joe take over.
Thank you very much. Again, we first came to council, I think, back in 2008 with this proposal when the discussion of the Twin Pad Arena being built and what was to become of the old Essex Memorial Arena. At that point in time, we came to council and presented, which went very well with all councilors. Things have happened and it never got off the ground because of other municipalities needing ice time and whatnot. So at this point in time, we've been in contact with Scott and the Hurricanes Soccer Club, which now we've come to you as a partnership with not only football, with soccer, which gives us a very diverse set of players, very diverse set of fans and parents and support staff. So the idea that we're coming to council with is to allow the Ravens and the Hurricanes to take over all the operations of the old arena in the same manner as we took over the old pool house. If those that remember, the old pool house was very dilapidated when we came to council, and we took it over at our cost, and we refurbished the entire facility, and we used that as our training facility for a number of years. In this partnership with the Hurricanes, that we plan to create an indoor athletic complex that will, with turf field, training facilities as far as weight room, that all of our teams will be able to use and open it up for community use as well. This is just some renderings that we took. This is way back when we first proposed this to council. These are actual pictures that we took of the arena inside and how it would look with the turf field inside. The picture on the bottom right is an example of what our trophy case would look like. If anyone has been to the Sun Parlor and you see our trophy case along with all of our players that have played in the professionals, it's pretty outstanding, and it's an awesome thing to see, and that would be proudly displayed in the arena. Again, we talked about our past success. Some of the benefits to allowing us to go forward with this is to restore what was once a proud arena into a community asset. We want to relieve the town of any ongoing financial burden, provide an indoor venue for all sports and recreation throughout the year. Not only since we play in the summertime, we practice and train during the off season, which is the season now, and a lot of people. Youth that can't afford whether they don't play hockey or they can't play hockey in the wintertime, it's very difficult for them to find other sports, and this is now another avenue for the youth to stay active through the winter months. Excuse me. We have our long-term athlete development program that we would like to continue. I'm sure that Scott has as well with the Hurricanes, with Soccer Canada. We talked about the large, diverse group of different users that we could bring to the town. These are just some of the uses that we discussed about for different leagues that we play throughout the year and throughout the wintertime in using this facility. Again, other uses that could be possible during the day. I understand that there is a track, and we know there's a track inside, but sometimes maybe people want to walk on grass, and that would be available inside the arena, a little bit easier on the joints. There could be lawn bowling that's set up during the day for seniors or whoever. There's so many uses that we could use for in the indoor facility that we can list it forever. Again, sample schedules, we don't need to necessarily go for that through that right now. And as far as the financial scope, I shall let Scott take the lead on that one.
As a group, we put together quite a few of the costs collected some of the costs that came with this facility. We've also obtained the Kleinfeld report from the last time that it came through. As a wet facility compared to a dry facility, the cost for that would be significantly less for that. We would be bringing in communities from around, also from Leamington, because there is no other facility like this around here. There only in Amherstburg. There's one on the Golf Dome, and there's one down at Novaletta, which are currently being used around the clock. There's no capacity left at any of these facilities. And us being as a central area, it seems to work out well. I've had interest from larger groups as well, from Vardar and from the Windsor Lacrosse, also looking for areas to work with.
So I guess at this point, we'll open up to any questions that council may have.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Personally, I like the idea. I don't think it's based on my views, I certainly don't think it's an opportunity we should let get away, to be quite frank with you. But again, that's only the views of myself. When you talk about taking over the operations of it, can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what's your intent as you see it?
Well, the intent would be to, as far as any financial obligations, would fall onto our group. As far as maintaining the facility, retrofitting many of the putting in the turf. Obviously there would be negotiations that need to take place before any of that would happen, but the plan is to eliminate any ongoing financial burden from the town, in which we would take over that burden.
In our budget line item, I believe the amount, and I may stand to be corrected, was it $283,000 to demolish the current arena, Doug? I don't know where I'm getting that number from, but...
Your Worship, it was just under $200,000.
Just under $200,000 to the cost, the full cost to demolish, haul everything away, and that's our final bill.
Correct.
So, another concern I have, if we were to try to work out the logistics, if you will, of making this work, what is as we know it today, what is the current status of the stability of the arena? As we all know, the council previous to this one was called upon on a Saturday morning to close that arena due to the concerns of the construction of it. Have we had ongoing reports on that arena that talk to the current condition of that arena?
Go ahead.
Through you, Your Worship. The last report was done in 2012, so it's every 2 to 3 years as a structural report. Based on that, the range from $500,000 to $3.2 million to get it up to standard, depending on the need of it. I did send to the group some kind of costs I feel they would have to look at. For example, one is the roof that every structural report since 2005 said would have to be addressed, and that alone is $500,000.
But there's a difference between what needs to be done and what the report is suggesting to be done. I don't want to confuse that number, if you will. I want to know really what it would take in the event we were to surrender the facility, what they would be looking at to get that up to standards. I know that's not maybe our problem. Looks like somebody here may have an answer to that. Is that?
I've been going over the report, and a lot of the report, the questions were asked by town, and the answers that were given back by Kleinfeld were it's going to need looking at, and yes, the roof does need to be repaired eventually, but everything right now is sitting, as long as it's maintained, it has a life expectancy of X amount of years. I don't know that now, how many years it is now that the report has been done. Obviously, that was 3 years ago. But if you read through that report, they're saying, yes, it has to be done, but with proper maintenance, it will last.
I would think, if I may, in that report, the latest one we got, like Mr. Sweet said, up to $3 million, that has to deal with the building being a skating rink, a
That's
hockey
correct.
arena.
That's correct,
A lot
yes.
of those prices aren't there
That's-
if we don't have hockey, which is our plan.
That's exactly correct. I was just going to mention that. As a dry facility, it's much, much less than that.
And I agree, and that's what I'm talking about, and that's a point of interest I want to make and get clarity of that, especially if the coffee shop talks start tomorrow, that the opportunities we're looking at are not as significant as if we were to revitalize it as a full workable iced arena. And I don't want anybody to make that mistake, because the numbers there'll be fallacy numbers coming out there that have no merit to them. So I want to make sure we stay on point with what we're looking at when it comes to some of the numbers, even though the town may redeem no responsibility for it. But with that being said, also, how many did you suggest are coming from other municipalities in your memberships, if you will, or in your...
We have kids from all over the place. Like, we have kids that come all the way from Wallaceburg right now to play for our program. I'm not sure about Scott. I know that they have several people throughout the community as well.
Yeah, we're pulling kids from Windsor, Leamington, Bell River, Harrow, Amherstburg. They're all coming out to play just because it's so central.
The only reason I say that, gentlemen, is because in the event this was to roll out, it's something in nature that is one and probably the only in the county. And I believe that maybe, just maybe, some of the other municipalities somehow, if you were to approach them, if we were to move with this, that you could approach them for a contribution from them too, recognizing that there's participants from other border municipalities using this particular facility.
I will say, as we mentioned before, we have been in contacts with all the soccer youth clubs, basically Leamington. They've all been on board and said they want to do it. Like, there's absolutely, as we mentioned, no space for anybody right now to get any type of indoor complex going, and that's why we're looking at this again.
And again, I like the idea, but I'm anxious to hear from the balance of council.
I just want to say one thing, Councillor Vokes, you're saying we have to, no, but I mean in the sense that we have to be concerned with what the repair cost is. You should be saying they, like these gentlemen, yeah, that's all. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Mr. Sweet?
Through your worship, just want to follow up with Councillor Vokes. Just my recommendation, because the report was done a couple of years ago, and you're correct, some of it is based on the use of it, and there's also still some structural and drainage is required. My recommendation to council that we would do another structural engineering report for our due diligence to know exactly where that building was.
Yeah, and I think that would be the fair thing to do, Doug, so they know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor Malash and then Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you, to the group. I think this is a fantastic idea. I really like the idea. It's sad that we have to tear buildings down, but it's a building that we just couldn't see our way into putting the money into that older facility. The amount of money we had to put in as a ice rink. But it makes sense as far as what you're saying with regards to a dry facility, that it could perhaps take a lot less money and make it more of an affordable venture. So I'm glad to hear that someone's stepping forward. I'd be fully supportive of the idea. Again, I don't think it's something that the town wants to get into it per se on themselves, but if there's a group that's stepping forward to take over and move in that direction, I'm all for it. Sports tourism is big. It'll be a drawing card to our downtown businesses, restaurants and shopping facilities, so on. who knows where it would go. And I think, as some of you have already pointed out, Scott, you were saying that how central the location is, and I believe that to be an ace in your pocket if you put it here, that I think the organization probably would grow if you had an indoor facility for either one of your groups, and perhaps you'd see other people come out of the woodwork that would want to use it as well, like you were talking about with the lacrosse. So yes, I'd like to see something going forward. I voiced the same concerns as what Randy was saying about making sure that you know all of the costs that are involved before you get too deep into it, to make sure that we don't start this venture and then all of a sudden we have to back out of it. So I think working with Doug here and knowing that we've got perhaps an updated engineering report to let you know where we sit today before you get started into it might be advantageous. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome, sir.
Sorry, if I may as well, just to maybe inform everyone, this isn't the first time that an arena has been turned into an indoor facility. I have, unfortunately, I didn't bring them with me today, but I have information on, I believe it was Aurelia. They did a similar with one of the soccer clubs there. They took over one of their old arenas and turned it into an indoor facility. So I can forward that information as well to the members of council.
Okay, thank you. I have Councillor Bowman, Councillor Baker, and Councillor Bondi.
Thank you. Also, many of the things that I was going to write, Richard already did, so basically where we came from, though, in the initial building our new twin pad, the old arena needed repairs over the next few years, and they're extensive to operate it as a hockey arena. It operated at a deficit every year, and even with those repairs, it would still operate at a deficit. It wasn't going to be a break-even type proposition. So hence we move forward to the new facility. I think, as Richard pointed out, I think at this point it's time for the administration and the group to get together, look at all the things that are involved in what it'll take, and what's the scope of each side, what is responsible for, and what needs to be moved forward. So I think we're in the early stages of it, but it's better to do it now than when the wrecking ball is there to take it down. So thanks for coming back, and I'm certainly supportive of the idea. And I think we've all made it pretty plain that we don't want to put a lot of money in this structure, so it's the idea, if they're willing to take it over and go with the ball, then we're quite supportive of it.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Baker.
Thank you, through your worship. Yeah, I'm probably not going to repeat everything that's been said. I mean, we'd met earlier on, and one of my first caveats was that this is not to be on the taxpayers' back. We've said this for some time. We all agree to that. So having said that, we haven't seen any financial models come forward yet. So what actually are you proposing in that? Because if I agree, this is a great concept. We want to make sure that we have facilities that are there as long as it's not costing us, because that was slated to be removed after this season, but yet, we got to listen to proposals and see what they look like. What kind of financial model can you afford in terms of running this operation whereby there's no cost to us or the taxpayers?
Inherently, as football coaches, we are game planners, and we need a direct focus where we can allocate our resources and know exactly what we're gonna game plan for. So without knowing whether council was even interested in us going forward with this, the amount of work that we put in 2008, and it didn't fall through, to come back and put all that work through it again and do the financials. All I can say is we've done in this town anything that we've done, we said we've done, we've done, and at our cost, and we have no reservations of what it will cost and how we can come up with that money. We have as Glenn mentioned, we have an extensive list of professional football players that, are waiting to give back to the program that helped make them successful. And as soon as we have a target in place, we would be happy to come forward and explain our financial situation to you.
Thanks. So I guess at this point forward, now you'd be able, that just hearing there's some interest to listen to what you have to say, you'd go back and work with the administration, provide some kind of financial or models. My next question is, what length of lease would you be looking at? Number two, and I kind of want to know what's the size of this market, because we haven't heard any revenue opportunities here. I mean, what kind of money can you look at sustaining yourself? Because if you're running and operating this and putting in capital for the upgrades, what kind of market is available? Because I think Windsor went through their ice pad there. They were trying to get that up and running with the King development for indoor soccer, I believe, and football. Tell me where that's at and what the market's like.
Right now, it's about $180 to $200 an hour for roughly Naviletto Center. I believe they're charging $160 to $180. Amherstburg's charging $120 to $140, somewhere in there. And like I said, they're booked steady. The Dominion Golf Dome's even more than that. The Kings are going to put in their full-size soccer field. I believe the pro team out of Windsor is going to house right out of there, play out of there, do everything out of there. So they are definitely going ahead with it. I don't know how much time they'll have out there as well, but they're looking at something as well. But like I said, being centralized, I think it's a huge advantage to be able to rent the space out, and I think the money's unlimited depending on, what you get yourself into.
So just a question through to administration, Doug. Based on the last engineering report, if the refrigeration was removed, operating this, would this be able to be operated with roof minor repairs, and what else would have to be going? Is there a safety issue? I just want to get that out there, because that's a little bit of misnomer of whether it's a safety issue or not. I want to hear from you on that.
Through your worship, through the last few engineering reports, structurally, it's fairly sound. They do have some concerns on some drainage, whether at a wet or dry facility, some drainage around the outside of the facility, and the weight bearing on the roof. So for sure, within another 3 years, the roof would have to be replaced, and some of the purlins inside. So some of the safety issues were, depending on the use of the facility, in terms of bleachers, where there is parts heaving, they would have to look at where the public or that would be in that.
All right, so the last question then, if in fact, are you able, through this market and yourself, able to sustain yourself for this operation if you totally took this on in terms of operating and putting in capital up to a certain amount? Could you sustain that model?
I believe we could. The cost would drop about 75% from a ice pad to a dry facility, like the cost alone just to run the complex. So, I mean, you're talking, a significant amount, but with the rental times and things like that, I definitely believe it's very, very feasible.
I don't think I heard, what kind of length of lease do you need would you need?
We'd probably looking at least 10 years probably would allow us to get several different grants and opportunities for that.
Sorry, excuse me, if I may just step in there. And when we spoke about the King's facility in Windsor, just understand that is a for-profit entity. We are a non-profit. Doesn't mean that we can't make money, but any of the money that we bring in is planned to be funneled back into the facility, into the programs. So there is a difference between running a for-profit center as such as the King's development and what we're proposing here.
Councilor Bondi?
Thank you. Just to clarify, I believe you want to own the facility, not to lease it. Is that correct?
I guess that depends upon the report and what needs to be done as far as any repairs, if there's a transfer and sale, if there's an additional work that needs to be. So I guess at this point we're open to